when you're on stage, you're actually being somebody else for 2 hours a night. You're not being yourself. So when you're into that thing where you have to be yourself, it's a whole different ballgame. You usually have a script.
That's right.
And you're reading off the script. So, and you're being somebody else.
Yeah.
And so you forget about your life and you take on that character.
That's what acting means.
Yeah, exactly.
Because to be honest, like then I would be crap. I don't know how to be somebody else.
Yeah. But that's why a lot of actors are like that. Right. So when they come on stage, they're being somebody else. They're forgetting about those issues for those 2 hours. Yeah.
But it's a good insight because I wouldn't know. But that is so true. Yeah. That's why it's easier to pretend to be somebody else during those times.
And really, as RuPaul says, you're wearing drag all the time. We're acting all the time. So we're acting out our life.
Have you done drag before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Queen of the Whole Universe.
True. You did. Questions.
Yeah.
So what I really, really love to hear about. How you get into theater and how many shows. Well, I have so many questions to ask, but I'm not going to ask. Or actually, I'm not going to ask.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got into theatre when I was 13. I was a very shy kid.
Yeah.
I hated school, hated everything. I was bullied at school because I was gay. Didn't know it then, but, as you don't when you're 13. I did a show called Flower Drum Song was my very first show. And then when I was 17, I didn't really do school shows either.
Okay.
At all. I started when I was 13. I did Flower Drum Song for the Light Opera Club in Hamilton.
Yes.
Which I loved. I loved doing, but I didn't do anything else until I was 17.
Okay.
And I joined the Hamilton Operatic Society because my mother was very adamant. If you're going to do something, you do it with the best people. And she always thought the Hamilton Operatic Society was the best group in Hamilton.
Yes.
So
the Hamilton group is in Hamilton.
Yes, the Hamilton Operatic Society.
Okay.
And there was a Light Opera Club. There were several clubs in Hamilton. As there are in Auckland.
So you learn how to sing?
No, never learned how to sing. Didn't learn how to dance when I first started. I just loved being on stage and loved acting. I did Midsummer's Night's Dream when I was at school. I played Oberon, the King of the Fairies.
Were you a...
Yeah. So the next thing I did was Hello Dolly with the Hamilton Operatic Society with a director called Robert Young. And Robert Young really was one of my mentors through life. He passed away sadly about 5-6 years ago. He was a stickler for, you were on time, you started on time, you finished on time, you didn't go over time. So it was very regimented.
Yes.
He was, and Robert and I became very good friends later on in life. But I've got a few funny stories of that time. As dancers are called hoofers.
Why is that?
I can't. It's something to do with hoof.
Feet. Yeah.
So he said at one rehearsal, he said, "Now the hoofers have to come in early tomorrow." And I thought he said pufters. And I went, "Does that mean? Does he know?" So I thought this suspicious thing, but So and then somebody told me no, it was hoofers.
I love it. That's funny.
Yeah. So
Pufter had to come in tomorrow.
It was hoofers. It was not.
I hear you.
So it was a really good experience. After Hello Dolly, I kept going. I did Greece, and I've done nearly over 100 shows now on stage and off, and different.
From the age of 17.
From the age of 17.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm really old.
Not that, probably only 30 years.
We used to do. We used to do about 8 shows a year, and we'd start rehearsing one show as the last show was going on. So you'd rehearse for a show, you'd start the season on a Saturday night, and then on the Sunday you'd start rehearsing for the next show.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was no time for anything else. So
how much time? I was going to ask, how long did you keep going like that?
For years. Yeah, for years we did it because, we had to, I was there, I can't even think how many years I was there, but it was it was an amazing experience.
8 shows per year.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So can you remember all the shows you have done?
Yeah, sort of. I've done. There's a lot.
I was
so I've done Grease. I was Roger in Grease before the movie Grease actually came out. So the movie Grease came out in 1978, and in 1978 we did Grease, but from May to June.
Yes,
it might have been May to July. We did 13 weeks.
Wow.
We did Fridays and Saturdays.
So it was a theater show before it became movies.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, the movie came out in September of that year. So we had actually done the show before the movie came out.
That is cool.
Yeah, so we did the New Zealand premiere.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was quite something. It was such a great.
I'm so happy that we captured that, because that is such an important things to know. Yeah.
So it was an amazing experience. And Fridays and Saturday nights I was out all the time. My mother was very strict, and my father was very strict as well, but my mother was very strict. And rehearsals tend to go a little bit longer than usual sometimes.
Yes, of course.
There was our final dress rehearsal. I remember being dropped home after midnight.
Yeah.
And here was my mother backing out of the driveway, coming to look for me. And I'd already started work at that stage too. So it was like, I had a very strict upbringing. So, but I'm very grateful.
I was going to say, but she's really supportive of what you're doing.
Well, she passed away. She only saw me on stage 3 times. She passed away when I was 25.
That's very young.
But she's always there with me. So
wow.
So I remember doing a show. I did Annie Get Your Gun, and I played the part of Charlie Davenport. And I would wear it was just after she died, and I would wear my mother's locket on stage every night. And the one night I forgot it, I completely stuffed up my lines in the opening number. From then on, I always wore my mother's locket, but I still have it, but I don't wear it. I got a bit superstitious for a while there.
Oh yeah,
because there's lots of theatre superstitions.
So those are the real things, right?
Absolutely. So you never mention the Scottish tragedy, the Shakespeare Scottish tragedy. I can't say it in here because we're in a theatre.
Okay.
On stage, because it's supposed to be bad luck. You don't whistle on stage, because it's actually part of history. In the old days, if you whistled on stage, that meant the flies would be coming in and out.
Oh.
So if you whistled, that was their signal for them to do that. So that's why you don't whistle on stage. There's a lot of superstitions.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of superstitions in theatre. Like you don't wish somebody good luck. You say break a leg. Lots of interesting stuff.
Aye. So when did you start producing, from being actors or to then
So I started choreographing first.
Yes.
With a director called Bobby Alderton. He would get me to choreograph shows. And then friends of mine and I set up a small theatre company in Hamilton called the Creative Theatre Company.
Yes.
And we did, mainly because nobody would actually hire us to direct shows or and we wanted to do specific things. So we set this up, and 2 of my friends set it up, and I helped them. And I did Steel Magnolias was my very first play that I directed, and I've directed it 3 times now, but that was the first thing I ever did. And it was very close to my heart because my mother died of cancer. It was all about somebody dying of cancer. So it was, and I always said, to my casts, especially with Steel Magnolias, I never wanted them to watch the movie. I wanted them to bring from their heart.
Wow.
It had to come from their heart. If we made one person cry in that audience, we did it. We were doing our job. So that was my goal every night.
How many people cried?
Lots.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that was a wonderful experience. And then I went on from there to directing. The first musical I directed was up here, and I was still living in Hamilton at the time.
So you have to travel.
I commuted up here every night.
Every night?
Yeah.
How many hours at a time? It wasn't even a motorway.
Well, there wasn't a motorway here at this end.
That's right.
But it was just when the motorway was being built, actually.
Yeah.
Up to here. And you would get to Mount Wellington.
Yeah.
And you'd hit the traffic. So I'd leave Hamilton at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
At night, hit the traffic in Mount Wellington, and I'd get to rehearsal at 7. So
3 hours.
3 hours. And then driving home would be eat a piece of cake.
Every night?
Yeah. Not every night, Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sundays.
That's a big commitment.
3 nights a week, yeah.
Wow.
I would come up. And I was also doing a show in Hamilton at the same time. I was choreographing here in Hamilton. So, it was like the nights I wasn't here, I was there.
So you pretty much has been doing theater your whole life, really. And which part of it you most enjoyed, actually, when you think about it from being the actor on stage?
I like being creative.
Yes.
I remember many years ago, I had created these beautiful headgears for a Las Vegas type show. And they're all feathers and really over the top and extravagant.
So it's like a beak.
Yeah, the big feathers, yeah. And they were huge. And every night, I was in the show, but every night when those headgears came out, they got an applause. And you get the goosebump. Yeah. It was
wow.
That was something really special. So I get a real buzz out of creating costumes and headgears, and it's
and also getting people appreciate the creations of what you put together.
Absolutely.
And also because you do the show, you know what is looking for, how to wow people, what works. So it's not just a spell of moment, it's like an accumulation of years of experience. Knowing what works.
Exactly. Yes. It's stuff like that. It's the kids that started here on the stage who are now doing professional theatre. That gives me a buzz.
We haven't even talked about where we at. We're at the
Centrestage Theatre, which I am the president of at the moment, and currently in rehearsal for Tootsie the musical, and that is, as I said with Greece, that is a New Zealand premiere. So this is the first time it will ever be done in New Zealand.
So when is it going to be?
It starts on the 7th of March and goes to the 21st of March.
Cool. So tickets are available.
Tickets available. I really.
And when did you start involved in Orewa Centrestage?
95 was my first show here. Bolly Alderton asked me to choreograph Sweet Charity, and I did that. And then I went overseas, and I came back, and I directed The Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
The first time. I've done it twice.
Wow.
Oh, 3 times. I've done Wizard of Oz now, here and also at another theatre in Auckland. I came back from overseas. So my overseas experience really wasn't an overseas experience, because I lasted 3 months, and I then moved to Ori when I came back with $5 in my pocket, got a job with the New Zealand Opera Company within a week, which was great. And as a friend of mine said to me, that was my overseas experience was moving to Orewa from Hamilton. And it's technically over the sea, over the harbour bridge. So technically,
It brings you back home, pretty much.
This is my home. This is my home. This is my home. Where I sleep is my second home. So you'll find me here more than you'll find me at my house.
And for that reason, like 30 years, how many shows do you remember you have produced specifically here? Like,
no idea now. I only generally direct one a year or 2 a year. I do a review. We do a review in our foyer here once a year, which started 10 years ago this year, and we do it where we started with the Beatles. And we're doing the Beatles again this year. But that was set up as a fundraiser for the theatre, and it's taken on a life of its own.
Wow.
So it has become something of a phenomenon. It's all completely booked out usually before we start. It's just...
That's amazing.
It's amazing. It's been something. We've done Queen, we've done ABBA.
Wow.
Last year we did Billy Joel.
Yes.
As I said, this year we're doing the Beatles again.
Wow. When is it?
And we have a band. It's in June. So we do it June every year.
Yeah.
And it makes us more money here than any other show because we don't have the costumes or the set or the cost of rights.
Yeah,
although we do play rights for the songs, to perform the songs, there is not the cost that you have when you're doing a big show. The cost of rights for a big show is phenomenal, and it's quite a lot to start off with. You need to know that you're going to make money on a show.
Yeah, of course. So there's a lot of logistics involved as well. It's not just about putting out the show.
We don't go, hey, let's put on the show.
Yeah.
Let's put on like...
Especially having like a theatre like this, it costs a lot to run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, we've just replaced the seats. Yeah. And the seats, that cost us $100,000. They're really comfortable too, compared to the seats we had before. So that's been a real bonus and something that you've got to be careful of too, because the audiences don't come if they're going to be uncomfortable. So now they know they're going to be comfortable. Our audiences have got steadily better.
Yes.
Yeah. But we do very well with our audiences, but you're only as good as your last show. So
Can I ask you, do you have a favorite, like amongst all, like do you have one that to you speak the truth about who you are? Did you really feel resonant to
There are a couple. One of them was Rent. I absolutely loved doing that show, and it was a show that we cried every night. Every night we cried. The cast cried, even in rehearsal.
Even with vision, I felt energy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the show is about.
So Rent is about these people living in apartments in New York.
Yes.
A couple of them have AIDS. Actually, more than a couple have AIDS. It's several of them have AIDS, and one of them dies during the course of the show. It is a beautiful show, and it has one of the most beautiful songs ever, which is Seasons of Love, which you must listen to. It's a beautiful song. And the other show that's really special to me is Priscilla, Queen of Desert. So both those shows won. So we have an awards system. So both those shows won Best Show.
Wow.
Yeah. The NAPTA Awards. And so that was really very special. Well, there's another show that I've won Best Show with, and that was The Boyfriend. And the story behind The Boyfriend was when I was 11 years old, I read the script of The Boyfriend and I wanted to do it. So I hired a hall in Hamilton, put an audition notice, handwritten notice, in the second-hand bookstore in Claudelands. Nobody came to the audition, of course.
Okay.
Because who was going to come and do a show with an 11-year-old boy?
Yes.
But I'd always wanted to do it.
You were 11?
Yeah, I was 11. So in 2010...
Yes.
I did it, and it won Best Show, Best Director, Best Choreographer in the awards. And I believe that was because it came from here.
Yes.
And it was something that I was to do. It's an old show too, and it's very corny.
You give me a bit of synopsis, because
It's about a finishing school in the south of France where this young girl is at, her father has put her into this finishing school. A boy delivers a package and they fall in love, and he sneaks in. It's quite convoluted, but it's a really lovely story and lovely music and everything. And it was a very special show because it's been in my head since I was 11. So,
and it's about celebration of love of two people.
Yeah. So that one, and Priscilla, of course, is one of my film favorites.
Yeah.
It's such a good show. Such a good show.
So throughout the years, of course, like you've been doing directing and producing show for. Can you remember the people that you have on your stage and how many people you have trained and nurtured?
Lots.
Are there any famous people there we might?
Yeah, there is a couple. So one of the girls I did shows with, and she was my Dorothy when I did my first Wizard of Oz, and her name is Kerry Harper. And people in New Zealand will remember a group called True Bliss.
Yes.
So she went on to be a member of True Bliss, and we still keep in touch. She's
great.
She is an amazing performer still, and she's got two girls now who are teenagers, who I think are performing as well.
Oh, great.
So yeah, when I did, and also that show, I had the Tin Man. His name was Hayden T. He was 16 at the time. Hayden is now, at the moment, performing Javert in Les Mis in the Northern American circuit. So he's up in Canada at the moment, performing that. A lot of people have been through here and doing really good stuff. You know, people working on cruise ships and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's kind of really special.
Yes.
When I went to London the last time, Hayden was performing Matilda.
Yes.
He was playing Miss Trunchbull and Matilda. And how special was it that I could see him do that on stage in London? It's just, it's something very, very special to be able to see go, you know, I knew him when, you know, sort of thing. So,
well, I think it's beautiful too, because I'm not saying everybody have to be big, but it's just having a place where they can start to build confidence. And finding a place and knowing that that's what they want to do and to persuade their dreams, isn't it?
I mean, both of those people had already been doing theatre, but it was in that show, and that was a really special show too, because that was my very first show.
Wow.
That I did, you know, so it was lots of fun. So every show is special in its own way.
Yeah,
like Tootsie is going to be a special. It's so funny. It's so funny.
And a lot of hard work. How busy you have been. And of course, you being a producer and director, there's always a lot of other things.
Yeah, so you're not only, as a director, you're not only just thinking about what's happening on with the performance, you have to think about what's the scenery going to be like, what the costumes are. Some people call me a control freak because I like to have my fingers in every pie, but I call it vision.
I think it's called Cohesion. Because you create visions that you need to speak the language of everything together, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So it's not, I know from other people they might don't understand, but you don't just look at one single angle. You look at a whole picture.
It's a whole picture,
how it tells the story, so everything has to gel.
So I learned a lot from Robert Young and Bobby Alderton, who were two directors I worked with a lot. They taught me a lot. So hopefully I've taken the best of what I learned from both of those people and applying my philosophy on doing a show, especially amateur theatre, is we're here doing it because we're not getting paid. We're doing it for love. And if we're not enjoying it, then why the hell are we here?
Exactly.
So you may as well go do something else.
Exactly.
You know? So that is my major philosophy in life. So we have a lot of fun with rehearsals.
And long hours as well.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So yesterday was Sunday, and we rehearsed the orchestra rehearsed in the morning from 10 till 12:30. And then I rehearsed with the cast and the choreographer and the musical director. There's three of us on the team. And we rehearsed them from 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We had a break for dinner from 5 to 5:30. And then we rehearsed till 8 o'clock last night. So it was a long day.
It was a long day. Yeah.
And as we get closer, the days get longer. And nerves creep in. And it was interesting yesterday because we introduced new bits of set. It was the first time they did the songs without. So we quite often play it with the CD of the show in rehearsals, but it was the first time we rehearsed with just a pianist or a backing track. So they had a lot of things thrown at them yesterday. And as I said to them at half time, it was like, every time you introduce something new, it all falls apart a bit and then you build it up again.
Exactly.
So Tuesday night will be our first rehearsal on the stage here.
Wow.
So that'll be, again, they'll all think, oh my God, what's happening here? But no, we're 3 weeks out.
Does it bring a lot of stress? Because it's quite a big
Can do sometimes. Yeah, can do. Because you're responsible for all those people that are on stage. And you're responsible for the show. So, and you're also responsible for how many bums are on the seats there.
Yeah.
So it can be stressful. If it's not selling, you're going, why isn't it selling? We need because we need to, to keep the doors open. We need to make money, even though we're not being paid.
Yeah.
The budget of a show is huge.
And also it's to keep the theater going as well.
Absolutely.
Because electricity,
electricity.
Everything costs money.
Yeah, well, to keep the doors open on the theatre every month without the shows is something like $10,000 a month. So it is a lot. And because I'm on the committee as well, that can be stressful.
Yeah,
well. So,
absolutely. Yeah, that is all the running costs and all that. Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me, how can someone first start if they felt like, I really want to have a go on a theatre? Joy
is this lovely Japanese lady who came and auditioned for me. Such a beautiful soul. She came and auditioned for a show. All she wanted to do was dance in a show. And at that stage, she wasn't the best person ever, and she'll admit to that herself. But she brought so much, she's so aptly named, she brought so much joy to what she did that I would put her in any show because everybody loves her, and she loves what she's doing, and she just shines on stage. She's got that joy
and enthusiasm.
She's just lovely, and it's really special that people who want to if you want to have a go, have a go.
Yeah.
Yes, you might not get in, but the experience of auditioning it can be frightening if you've never done it before, because you go into a room and there's 6 people sitting there going judging you.
Yeah.
But they were in that position too at one stage. So give it a go, have a go. You never know.
How people find out when there's
audition notices everywhere. We usually follow our Facebook page.
Oh, cool.
There are there's a Facebook page called Auckland Auditions. So all the auditions are usually put there. Facebook's the way to go these days with advertising stuff like that.
And what quality do you look for? Certain quality, or let's say, of course, like putting skill, like knowledge, experience. Sometimes not even have any of it.
Yeah, sometimes it's as the person's right for the part. If the person comes in and just blows you away. Sometimes somebody can come in who you've never seen before and you'll just go, wow, that's amazing, And that's happened several times for me. When I did Joseph here years ago, a guy came in, didn't know him. He came in, he sang for me, and I went, I'm going to offer you the part right now.
Wow.
Yeah, because he was just incredible. He was that role. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And that come down to more to do with talents but something else, or
it is talent, but it's also, as I say, it comes from here. And it comes from here. It comes from our heart.
Gotcha.
What we do it because we love it.
Yeah.
And when I went over, I remember going to New York years ago.
Yeah.
And seeing a production of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum with Nathan Lane, who was amazing. But the rest of the cast had obviously been doing it in months and months, and they were drawing a paycheck. And I was so proud of what we do here because it comes from our hearts, and we aren't drawing a paycheck. They were just going through the motions, and a lot of professional productions.
Yeah.
If you go and see a professional production, they are just literally
there's no
drawing a paycheck. Yeah. They've lost the passion.
I hear.
And that's a word that you'll hear me use a lot, is passion.
Yeah.
I have a passion for theatre. I have a passion for this place.
Yes.
My casts are passionate about what they do.
Yes.
So, and that sometimes can be also a problem because they get so passionate that they then become this monster. Where they're going, why isn't this happening? Why isn't this happening? Why haven't that's the wrong colour wig for me, or something like that.
So there's a lot to do with, even, of course, personality. And also the dynamic of the.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you pretty much have to be everything.
Yeah.
mediator, father.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Yeah.
Authoritative sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But again, we have to have fun. So if we're not having fun, then I'm not doing my job.
But I like what you're saying. You're saying what you're looking for is, if not someone who can sing, but it had to sing and you can feel that enthusiasm, passions, and that vibration came through.
And who's going to have the chemistry with everybody else on stage,
But I get you, because it's a live show. Yeah. People can see if someone just, like moving as part of the choreography, or moving because they really feel the music, doing it together, bringing them whole self with passion. So sometimes it's not you're the best singer that you'll get the part, or you're the best actor or the best dancer. It's a combination of those things sometimes. And depending on the part, and sometimes you do need the best singer or the best actor. But it's in community theatre, there should be a place for everybody. And also being part of that nurturing environment as well, like fostering talents and giving people a chance to. Yeah. So many years ago, I was doing a production of Joseph, and the person who always stage managed my shows said, I really want to be in the show. And I said, well, why not? Audition for it. If you want to be in the show, audition and see how you go. She did audition. She wasn't the best person on the stage, but I put her in because she wanted to, she wanted to do that. So have that passion. Why not? Yeah. And then I lost the stage manager for the show, but it happens. Shit happens. Tell me, after all this year, like doing a show and all that, do you still enjoy it, or do you have moments where you're like, I'm going to give up? Yeah, do that all the time. Yeah. I've done it for a long, long time, and I kind of feel it's time for younger people to come in and share their talent. I have got a very young choreographer for Tootsie, and the musical director, I think this is her third. Yeah, so I have, so with Tootsie, I have a young choreographer. I have a young musical director that's only her third show. I think it's only her third show. Great musician. So it's about nurturing those people too and giving them the opportunities to do this. And I remember when I was young and I couldn't get the opportunity to direct or choreograph. So that's important to me, is to let them have a go and see what they can do, and let them discover the joy of theatre, because it is a great environment. Yeah, and of course, it's not just about skill and talent, it's the people that you know as well, come to know and become friends. Absolutely. For me, it's another family. So I have my theatre family, I have my work family, and I have my family. So I'm very lucky. I have 3 families. Yes. I'm very lucky. And so, like thinking back about all that you have done and achieved a lot, have you ever thought about you be even doing this when you were 11? No idea. No idea. So I'm still waiting to grow up. You found your love. You found your love. My passion. My passion. My passion. I love it a lot. I don't think I could live without it. And what would you say to the 11 years old when he first get into this? Sounds like RuPaul now. What would you say to 11-year-old Michael? I never watch any of the show. What? I'm very weird. I don't watch a lot of shows. Because I was so shy, I think I would say, just go out there and do it. I think my problem is that I started very late. I didn't start till I was 17, 18 properly. I found that I was always, because I was 6'2", I was always the middle at the back of the chorus. Because of your height. Because of my height, yeah. So I had no training whatsoever. So I decided to learn how to dance. So I went to dance classes, and I started doing dance classes when I was 22, which was quite late to do it. Yeah. And I did
my exams through. I can't even remember what grade I did the exams to, but I was doing exams with kids, you know.
Yeah, yes.
And I did tap and I did jazz ballet. And,
oh, wow.
So yeah, and that opened up a whole new thing for me. I was brought up with a father who, you know, I loved dearly, but he was very old school and boys did not dance. So I missed that opportunity to dance when I was younger, and I'm glad I took it up when I was older. But now, I mean, now I can't dance like I used to.
Do you still dance?
Yes.
And you also choreographed Queen of the Whole Universe?
Yes, I did.
For how many years?
I think we did it for 10 years. I think there was 1 year I didn't do it. 10 years, and I was in it twice. Yeah. So I was Miss Argentina 1 year and Miss Australia another year. So that was a whole another experience. I have some really lovely memories from that. And I remember the very first one, there was this guy that came in, and it was from people from all walks of life who had a reason to be there. I remember we had a bikie guy who came in because his family had died of AIDS, and he came to support. He was great fun. And then there was this one guy who wasn't very good, and he just wasn't very good at all in rehearsals. I used to tear my hair out. How am I going to hide him? What am I going to do? What am I going to do with this guy? Anyway, on the night of the show, yes, I met him in the toilet, and he said, "This has been one of the best experiences of my life." Wow. And I just went, you know what? You're living your best life. You go for it.
Yeah, even though it's not the best.
He wasn't very best, but hey.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. He was there because he wanted to be there.
Yes.
And amazing, he was a straight guy. He was a married guy, but he was having the best time of his life.
Wow.
And that was just, I went, stop being so judgmental, Michael, and just let him do it. Let him be him.
I'm going to say this, man, I'm such a crybaby. You create a safe space for people to allow to be themselves.
Yeah, and that's important.
Yeah, that's important, and that itself is a success.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. So I had a friend of mine who I worked with. So I work in a retirement village.
Yeah,
and she worked with me for a while. Her son was a bit lost, and I said to him, "Why don't you take him down to the theatre to join the classes down there? He'd love it." He used to come. I used to do dance classes for the oldies on a Friday afternoon. He'd often come and take part in that while he was waiting for his mum. I said, "I'll bring him down to the theatre." He came down to the theatre. He's just blossomed, and he's found his people.
Wow.
And that to me is really important too, that if I was that age, I've always encouraged the young ones to come in, because if I'd had that encouragement when I was younger, I mean, who knows where it could have been. I remember we had a guy here who was 15 when he started doing shows here. He loved ballet, and he was doing ballet classes, and he was brought up in a family where not necessarily his father wasn't that enamored that he was doing ballet, and I encouraged him to do it. He went on to join the Royal New Zealand Ballet.
Wow.
He has just retired from the Georgian State Ballet in Tbilisi, where he now lives with his wife and two lovely kids. And I remember him messaging me on my 50th birthday. 50th birthday? Or maybe it might be older than that. But he
I thought you're only 49.
I'm only 49. He messaged me to say thank you for all I did for him. He wouldn't be where he was without me. So that is really special.
They also show, I think it also show, characters, and also how you truly give people a chance and nurturing.
Well, you should nurture these people and give them a chance to succeed or to fail.
The funny thing is, this was supposed to be you.
Yeah.
I don't think we really talk about you. We talk a lot about theater. But probably you, as part of the theater, and the live show that you've been created, and it truly lives inside you, so you can't take Michael out from all that.
No. I am part of this place. I've got a very good friend, and the other day we judged a talent quest together, and she was billed as much part of the theatre as the stage and the curtains, and I thought that was hilarious. But when I think about it, probably I am as well.
So before we finished, is there anything that you want to share? Besides coming to the show, of course.
Come to the show.
Yeah.
I just think if you want to do it, just go out and grab it. Just grab life and do what you want to do, and to find a passion in life. Find your people. It doesn't matter what you do, but if you're going to do it, give it 110%, because it will come back to reward you. I mean, I've not made money out of this. I probably spend money more than I make money.
Your time.
Yeah, but my time and everything like that. But my heart is really full. I had an amazing experience last year when it was my birthday. And all I wanted for my concert, my friends gave me the most amazing concert ever. And it was just the most special thing. And it was a lot of love in that room. So it was my heart was full from that. And, there's so much love within this community for each other.
You make me cry. I'm a crybaby, so I feel cry. But I have to say, when you first showed me the theater, I can feel the theater was filled of love. Every room I walk into, I can feel the energy, especially in the room where there's a lot of clothing. What's that called?
The wardrobe.
The wardrobe. Yeah, there's the word, the wardrobe. I can sense that the energy was so strong when I walk in there. I just couldn't stop but crying.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I know how much joy it have given to you. I think also people who come to the show as well because of all that love. The birthday, the concert was really to celebrate you and what you have done and given to the communities. And that's what I call authentic leadership, my friend.
Thank you. It's, I try.
Yeah.
I piss people off sometimes.
Oh, you have to. You can't win.
Yeah.
This is impossible.
Yeah. But, on the whole, I think I'm very lucky. Very fortunate to have had the life that I have had, and it hasn't been without sacrifice.
Of course,
absolutely.
I mean, like just hearing the time you took to travel, and I know not all the shows actually. When you do like what you say, a lot of time I volunteer. It's not like you're getting paid whatsoever. And
I have some amazing memories. Amazing memories. I could fill hours. About the memories that I have.
Yes. Yeah.
And the funny stories that that happen sometimes.
Do you want to share one before we finish?
There was one show that I did in Hamilton many years ago, and I was dressed in a pink tutu, pink 4/4 actually, the long thing. It was a tap number called Swan Pond. So it was Swan Lake on taps, and I was tapping. And if you can imagine, I'm 6'2", and I danced with 6 girls who were came to about here on me. And this particular night, it was probably one of the best things I've ever done on stage. Most challenging, but also the funniest thing I've done on stage. It was just such a special number. And I went out this one night and my corset came undone.
Yes.
My skirt was slipping down. My tiara had fallen off, and all I could think was, I'm going to be standing here naked any minute now, because everything just was going wrong. Luckily, I wasn't. But there's been several things like that.
That's good. You can look back and laugh about it at the time. Absolutely. It wasn't funny at all.
Wasn't funny at the time, no. When I did I was in a production of The Best Law Hall House in Texas, and in that show, there's a scene where the rugby team have showers on stage. Anyway, this particular night, it was the final night, our musical director, who was a lady, said, if you bought, because we had skin colored jock straps that in the shower, so nobody.
Yes.
But we had opaque glass on the thing, or so we thought.
Yeah. Okay.
So we thought. So anyway, so she said, if you boys go naked on stage, I'll go topless in the second half, which she did, and we did. Luckily, I had the foresight to hang my towel in the. I was the first one in the shower. I had my towel hung over the front of the shower, and took it off and wrapped it around. For some reason in the number, I turned around to look at there was 3 shower stalls. I turned around to look at it, and I suddenly went, oh my God, you can see everything. So all the boys, all their junk was out on display. And
the audience got...
Yeah, the audience got their money worth that night, I tell you. But my God, it was just the funniest thing.
Oh my God.
When you look back on it now, and hilarious. But yeah, there's been things like that. And,
oh yeah, that's
But there's always funny things that happen.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to come to this amazing theater, and also giving me a personal tour last time, and doing the interview here. So my friend,
most welcome.